Hello, today on my grandpa's trains workbench, I have a couple tank car projects. The shell tank car, I'm going to explain a little bit more in detail what I've been doing to it. And this coppers or copers, I'm not really sure how you say that. Chemicals tank car is one I picked up in my last American Flyer acquisition. So I'll go over this first and show you all that I did to it to get it back in operating condition. There's a lot of cosmetic damage on this. It was dirty, so I cleaned it first at the sink with some gentle detergent and a soft scrub brush. And I removed the wire handrails and this top, which still comes off, and the ladders. And these are supposed to be snapped in place with little plastic tabs on the bottom. All 3 out of 4 are broke off. Now, there's a lot of scratches and scuffs on this, so I actually took this flat black oil paint. This is oil-based actually. It works very well on metal train parts and also happens to work good on plastic too. So there's a tab broke off here, so I painted underneath that. There's a lot of scratches and scuffs. You can kind of see where the new paint is. It blends in, I think, very nicely with the original. I then removed and polished all of the wheels because these plastic wheels actually build up scum and carbon dust of some sort, and it becomes like a sticky layer on each wheels, and I polished all that off. Then I oiled each axle and placed it back in the trucks. Again, touched up a lot of the paint. The wire handrails on this piece were bent, and so I straightened them out and then painted them with the flat oil paint. And the wire rails and the ladders I actually spray painted outside. This work platform had a crack in it on this side. You can see where the crack is right there. And I glued that back together. It still sits a little bit crooked, and I'm not sure entirely how well that is going to hold up over time. But as long as it's not handled too much, it should be okay. So when all is said and done, I'm just going to use a drop of glue on each of the 4 corners to hold this top piece in place, and that will be finishing up this Koppers Chemicals tank car. So I'm going to move this out of the way, and we'll move on and show you this shell tank car. This one is, I think, the 1946 or 47 variants of the plastic tank cars. This might be the slightly later because this one is not warped, which is really nice. However, it is cracked, and this was extremely dirty. This one had a layer of scum and that white release chemical. As you can see on these wheels, I still have to clean that off. Inside and out. So I actually used my heat gun and heated up the entire tank car inside and out, and that started to liquefy and evaporate the release chemical on this tank car. You can still see on this end of it, there's some of it left, and so I'm going to repeat the process of heating that up. And then actually, this one was coated so thick in it on the inside. I used the heat gun on all 3 ends inside. You know, I don't run it on high because that could melt the plastic, but being very gentle with it, of course, it warms it up just enough to melt that release chemical without damaging the shell. Anyway, the other thing that needs to be done on this is this end is cracked and splitting right here. And then I need to finish cleaning up both of these end pieces. The frame isn't in bad shape. It just needs, you got to polish off some of the rust on these trucks, and then I polished off the rust on these handrails on these sides. So I'm going to finish up the cleaning procedure of this tank car, and then I'm going to glue this crack. Once that's glued, then I can reinstall these end caps and then the axles, and then I'll give you an update in a moment. All right, so this car is as complete as it can be. We'll be ready to take it to the track and test it out here in a minute, but I'll just show you what ended up having to be done to it. So on the bottom, cleaned off all the rust and oiled and removed all that white chemicals off the wheels. The shell has been cleaned inside and out very thoroughly, and the wire handrails have been removed, polished, and then I actually put a coat of WD-40 on it to protect it from rusting. Same goes for these the trucks down here. I coated that metal in WD-40 so it prevents it from rusting, hopefully. Let's see. This end had a large crack running down the side here, and I have glued that with plastic cement, and then put everything back together. Basically, I found an extra axle for it, so it has all 4 trucks and axles. And let's see, straightened out the ladders. So the only thing with this car is it's missing the top dome cover. I'm thinking I'm going to have to fabricate something for that, but for the time being, we'll just run this as an empty tank car. All right, so that takes this from a basket case shell tank car to a good operating rolling tank car again. All right, I'll meet you at the layout.